There is no golden nugget. And my mom always told me, it's not your job to judge, it's just your job to help.
Wow.
So people are always watching, do something good with it, you know? And it says, because of this, something good will come. A $5 million business, have fun, hope you can do it. You have to struggle.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode on Suits and Shoes Behind the Build, Season 2. This is a wrap up for Season 2, and we're going to get ready to launch Season 3 here in a few weeks. And I just want to tell you, thank you for joining and supporting our journey of sharing stories that have not only impacted and changed my life, but I honestly believe are changing the course of history, not only in the communities that where these individuals live at, but on a global scale as well. And I'll elaborate and share more in Season 3 about impact. Today we have a special guest, someone that is not only a peer, but has inspired me. And it's very rare where someone my age inspires me. So thank you for that. So his name is Brady Wells. He's a local entrepreneur in the real estate space and a couple other ventures. And I'll let Brady share his story, but a little background of how we met. It was actually, we kind of follow each other on social media, but we met at Governor Kehoe's Thank You event here in Springfield. And I remember seeing you in your outfit. I'm like, I got to go meet that guy. So thank you for being you. Thank you for being authentic. And I'd like to jump right in and start with early childhood. A question that parents ask me all the time, and sometimes kids as well. What I define as kids is under 18. Anyone under 18 in my definition. I was a kid under 18, so I say kids. Is what did that early childhood look like? So what are some things, let's start with what your parents did right that you feel like helped you have the success that you're experiencing right now?
Oh man, I'm sure it was a lot like for yourself. They distilled a lot of values in me and things that most parents, I think, maybe skip on a little bit. And they did it from a dynamic that was probably not like most. So I grew up in a split household. My parents were divorced. They divorced when I was in first grade. I never really got to see a sturdy relationship with them, but they always made it work, which is really neat. So for 2 months, my mom lived in Joplin, an hour away, and brought me to school in Nixa every day, an hour to work. She drove every day. And to make sure that I didn't miss that time with my dad too. Mom almost took a job in Dubai when I was in fourth grade. And in that time, her exact words were, I can make more money than I've ever thought about making, but I'm not going to separate you from your dad. Wow. And that was really neat. So in turn, she ended up buying a house that was 2 blocks away from my dad. Wow. And I was able to ride my bike back and forth.
So good.
Yeah. So dad was a football coach for 35 years. Hardcore old school football coach, man. Like the stuff you see in the movies, the Bear Bryant type guys that are going to pound the success into you and just lead you the right way. And he did that my whole childhood, man. My mom was the same way too. She was, not your typical woman. Like she wore steel-toed boots every day. And like, she was a black belt in karate and like just a total bad A woman. You know, you don't see that all the time. And she was never afraid to speak her mind. So it was really neat having 2 parents that were both, one, very stern in their values and their beliefs and the things that they held, but also thought very differently, you know, in a way that I don't want to say ruined their relationship, but expanded it in a way that, okay, we're not together anymore, but we're going to make it work for our kids. Wow. So I've got a little sister too. She's awesome as well. I mean, she's a teacher now, very stern in her ways, you know, and we all get along great. And with what most would have as a broken childhood, I had a great childhood.
That's amazing.
You know, it was really neat.
That's inspiring. Mine was kind of the opposite. My mom was that coach.
Yeah.
I mean, she was on point. Like you're feeling sick and you don't want to go to school. Well, here's some water. Here's some ginger tea. You're on your way.
Yep.
If you need a nap, go to the nurse. She'll let you nap during recess.
Yep. Absolutely.
If not, you're fine. You're going to school.
Yep.
So there's no skipping or missing school. Like we'd have to be borderline, like burning with a fever, dying to skip school, like for a tummy ache or a headache. No way. Yeah. Today I see my youngest brother just graduated high school and he doesn't feel like going to school. You know, he stayed up late with friends. So mom was like, okay, sleep in. Yeah. So he's getting a whole different experience on that.
I feel like that's kind of the generation now. It's a little more laid back. It's like, well, if you're not comfortable, you don't need to go. Yeah. Now, in retrospect, I skipped a lot of school when I was growing up. I faked sick a lot, but the reason I did is my mom worked at the National Guard, and I enjoyed going up there and hanging out with those guys. Amazing. So she had me like checking out chemicals when I was like 8. Like she'd leave me in her hazmat room, and she's like, if anybody comes needs some paint, go check them out. And that's what I did. So I love skipping school to do that. And Dad was always going, no, he needs to be there. obviously being a school teacher, he saw the benefits in that.
Your little one just turned 1.
Yeah.
You had an amazing birthday party. What are some things that you might not do with your child that maybe your parents did with you that you think had a negative impact?
Man, this might ruffle feathers, but I don't think public school is probably the way I'll go with my son. I saw years of public school shaping me and pushed me to ways I didn't really always necessarily learn the best. And I think that some people are the same way. But, you know, I don't know if I'd change a whole lot.
Yeah.
You know, my parents did everything they could and they gave their best. And that's all I want out of me and my wife. You know, I saw them, they didn't grow up rich. You know, my grandpa grew up on a dirt floor, no toilet. Like, they grew up with nothing.
Wow.
And my mom, adopted family, they didn't have a whole lot, but I always felt like we had everything. You know, I never felt like we were missing out.
Yeah.
I would go to Kohl's with grandma and get, you know, a $10 sweatsuit and like you growing up, you know, man, people would be like, what are you wearing? I'm like, man, this is the coolest thing I could have found, you know, like my mom thought it was neat. Why would anybody else hate it? So I don't know if I'd change a whole lot, really. Obviously, having a better relationship and working on my relationship with my wife is really important because I don't want to have a divorced family like I grew up in. Yeah. But that being said, I don't think it was ever a negative factor in my life. I think it led me to where I am, pushed me to be a better man, and obviously pushed me better in my faith for my family now. Yeah. So
that's amazing. You're the second person in 1 month on this podcast that has said the same thing. We interviewed a multi-billionaire just a few weeks ago, and he said the same thing. Like, I wouldn't change anything, but no offense to public schools, my kids are going to private school.
Yeah.
And it sounds like I'm gonna have to send my kids to private school.
Well, you know, I went down to a conference in Tulsa with Robert Kiyosaki and Eric Trump. And the guy that put it on, you'll have to go down there sometime and check him out. His name's Clay Clark. He's a very good businessman, a little bit controversial in his political views. But one of the big things he said, he's like, take all your kids out of school. He goes, I don't even want my kids to go past junior high. And I'm sitting there going, I don't know if this is going to resonate with a lot of parents, you know, but it kind of did. And I think that what people are searching for is more, obviously, faith in school teachings and less indoctrination by all the things that come with it, you know?
I agree. I think it's not even a faith thing. One of my neighbors, she's, you know, a non-believer, you know, borderline atheist. And I asked her, you know, why did you pull all your, she was a school teacher, quit her job, pulled her kids out of school and is homeschooling them on a nice little farmstead. And so it was for me like a neutral case study. Like, why did you do that? Clearly it's not religion because you don't believe in God. You believe that there's someone out there in the universe. You just don't want to acknowledge him as God. And her answer marveled me. She said that quote that I see on social media, how can a fat PE teacher teach my kids to be healthy and eat organic foods? And how can a math teacher who is not even incorporating modern day technologies teach my kids to be financially literate? And I was just like, wow. So when it comes to that, I've built my argument now on private school and or tutors, whether or not you can afford it, you know, go get a loan if you have to, is they're not teaching those basic things for success. Like, I wasn't taught, you know, whole foods and eating healthy and avoiding Pop-Tarts. I remember freshman year of high school, we had to do like meal planning and we were given like a menu. Gatorade, Pop-Tarts, all this stuff that now we're learning is like so bad for you. One of my customers, you know, very high net worth individual, and this lady, I mean, she's got, there's a lot of money and then there's like stupid money that is in the billions. And she taught me to use this app, and you scan and it tells you like on a scale of 1 to 100. So I just started scanning items that I put on my freshman year of high school menu. It was all 1, 3, red, do not eat, report to your local legislation. It was really bad. So I think that's my argument is it's not the fact that it's a public school or so much beliefs and political views. That's all important too, to teach kids, you know, to make the right decisions. I think it's even deeper than that. 100%. It's teaching them basic skill sets that they need to be successful in life. So at what point did you realize like, hey, I'm an entrepreneur and I'm not going to go the 8 till 5 or 9 till 5 route. I'm going to go and I'm going to hustle?
Man, I always had a hunch that like, well, I'll tell you, it's always come from a hunch that I wanted to help people at a higher level. And day to day, it's always been that. I got that from my mom. My mom was somebody that would have $20 in her purse and give every bit of that to somebody that needed it. And that always resonated with me. And my mom always told me, it's not your job to judge, it's just your job to help.
Wow, so good.
That was always huge to me. And where it really slapped me in the face was dad being a football coach. My whole life was going to be football. I was going to be a college athlete. I was going to go play football. Newsflash, I was a little bitty skinny dude that wasn't that fast, but was fast enough to make the team. And I like to hit people hard. Didn't really do that well in college. And aside from that, was not devoted to the schooling. So went to Missouri Southern for a year, dropped out. And I always tell people this, utter failure, like absolute utter failure. If you talk about the bare minimum work, I did it. And when I got out, I had no idea what I wanted to do. I actually went and worked in a real estate office for 2 weeks. They put me in a little tiny room, said, you're going to call leads. For anybody that knows me now, I don't do well locked up. Like I have to be out meeting people, conversing with the community. I have to be doing something outside of just one stationary place. I go 20 places a day. So I worked in that office for 2 weeks, bought a Harley, quit the job, and went pretty much stir crazy for a year, man. Until I was 22, I really had no direction. I'll be completely honest with you. I had no direction. I did everything you could possibly do to go the wrong way. And where it hit me in the face, and my dad always told me this too, and it just never resonated with me, was obviously you are who you hang out with. If you're going to hang out with a group of 4, you're going to be the 5th. We were driving through traffic one day here in the middle of Springfield, and it was me and 2 buddies, and we were drinking, about to go to the club. That's exactly what we were doing. And this guy pulls up behind us, had no idea who he was, except he went to the gym that I worked at. Next day, my boss says, hey, so-and-so saw you and said that if you would have been doing that and they didn't have their kids in the car, they would have whooped your butt.
Wow.
And it hit me that, one, people are really watching. And you are who you surround yourself with. I quit hanging out with those friends that day. I stopped hanging out with them, and I immediately had this change like, okay, Brady, you've known that your whole life you've been a little bit in the spotlight. Your dad's a teacher and a coach. People know who you are. You need to flip that script where you've always thought, well, people are always watching, I'm always going to be in trouble, to people are always watching, do something good with it, you know? And that day, everything kind of changed. So I started seeing things different, started looking at opportunities differently. Used to be, go get a job, go to the job, do the job. And then it was, go find an opportunity, create an opportunity from that opportunity, and then execute the opportunity, you know? And everything that I did from that 22 to 24 led me to where I am now at 28 years old, almost 29, through failure, through learning and trying to grow businesses and failing those businesses, sporadic businesses. People call me and go, hey, do you want to do this? And I'm like, I don't know what it is. Let's try it, you know? And nothing was to the level of success that you've done, but they all led me to realize that I want to do something on a higher level that gave me freedom and gave me the opportunity to impact other people's lives.
That's amazing.
And that's where I'm at.
Studies show that the path you're going, the path that I went of entrepreneurial and trying different things, that right now or in the past 10 years, it was 10% of society. But now with AI and everything changing and globalization and all this stuff, that by 2030, it's going to be 40% of society. That's going to be owner operators, contractors, grinders. What advice would you have for someone that's like, they feel like they want to do it? In my life, it feels like half the people in my life, not 40%, that want to go do what I'm doing, but can't. And I always struggle to find a way to kind of like give them that golden nugget that will push them to do it. What would you tell someone that's watching this and listening and like just caught between 2 worlds? Like, how do they take that first step?
There is no golden nugget. There's no golden nugget. It's take the opportunities that you have and use them to your complete advantage to do what you want to do. You're going to fail. Failure is inevitable. And what really changed my life, man, was one day, there's a sports psychologist. I'll give you his number. It's called the Success Hotline. And I think the guy's out in Pennsylvania or somewhere on the East Coast. And it's an old voicemail. And every day he gets on there and records a voicemail, right? And this one day I get fired from a job. I get fired. The dude literally told me, he goes, you don't know shit about business. That's what he told me. I get in the car and I'm crying, man. Like I am literally in tears. And something told me, I was like, just call the Success Hotline. So I call it and it says, if you live by these 7 words, your life will change. And it says, because of this, something good will come. And it clicked and it hung up. That's literally it. And I went, I'm going to go start an LLC right now and do this what this guy just fired me from. And that was my first business, man. I literally went that day, started an LLC, and I started my garage refinishing business, doing garage floors and epoxy.
That's amazing.
And I believe that every opportunity will lead you to the success that you ultimately want, but you have to have in your heart to get there. Yeah. It's not going to happen overnight. You're not going to find it under some rock somewhere, and nobody's going to call you one day and go, hey, here's a $5 million business. Have fun. Hope you can do it. You have to struggle.
Yeah. I interviewed Jack Stack a year or so ago, and on the similar subject, he said it takes 5 years to do something great.
Yep.
So I made my own version of that, and I always tell people that want to start, it takes 5 years to do something great, so give yourself 10.
100%.
And if you're not willing, I mean, in today's society, even with AI, it still takes about 8 years just to build a brand.
Yep.
A brand, and I'm talking like a multi-million-dollar brand. To build a billion-dollar brand, I've done some research, and on average, the new number is 17 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
That seems low.
Yeah. It's on the low side. It used to be, I think the number used to be like 36 or 38 years.
Yeah.
But that was because back then, one of the reasons, there's many reasons, but the big reason was people weren't open to collaborating.
Yeah.
Today you can collaborate with almost anyone, and if you can't, there's a dollar amount that they will collaborate with you.
Yeah.
Yeah. There hasn't been a single person that I haven't reached out to that wasn't open to collaboration.
Absolutely.
And like some really big names. I'm like a small town, small manufacturer.
Dude, some of the people you've had on is amazing. Like amazing. Like just going through and seeing like Andy Elliott, Governor Kehoe, Jack Stack. I mean, when I saw that, I was like, I'm driving up there to get some barbecue. You know, like it's amazing, man. Yeah. And look at the empire you built, and you're not stopping.
I appreciate it. Yeah, no,
we're
just getting started.
I know. It's a cool thing.
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, it's like I tell my team, if you guys want to go in the executive part of our company, every morning your team's going to give you a bowl of shards of glass, and you have to eat that bowl for breakfast, solve the problems, and then you can go work on the cool visionary stuff.
Yep, absolutely, man.
Life of an entrepreneur. Okay, well, I want to cover now early failures. A lot of people they see the good highlights.
Yeah.
And that's why I rarely talk about highlights and good stuff. I'm like, you want to see this person's success? Go on their Instagram, go on their Facebook, YouTube. You'll see it all there in reels and animated and music and audio, but you rarely hear failures. So much so that I've actually thought about starting a social media platform where you can only post failures.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. That's more real, man.
Yeah,
that's
just
more real.
Raw failures. No one really talks about, I remember 8 months into starting this company about 6 years ago, it was the first time we ran out of cash.
Yeah.
Well, nobody mentored me or told me in business school, like, hey, running out of cash as a startup is a real problem.
Yeah.
And I remember sitting down, hugging the trash can, trying to throw up. I can't throw up because I realized I haven't eaten in 2 days. And just this come to Jesus moment where I realized, okay, Jesus, take the wheel.
Yeah.
Full on, Jesus, take the wheel. I surrender to God. I say my prayer. I'm like, I'm just going to go do what I can, work, and then trust God to do the rest.
Yeah.
Within a few hours, I had a customer call, say, hey, I need to wire you the payment for my rig right away. $300,000 deposit because I want to write it off on taxes this year and not next year.
Yep.
And it's just so many of those God moments. So I want to hear some of your early on failures, preferably the biggest ones that you have.
Oh man, I don't even know where to start with that. We could start with college. We could start with football. But I'll lead off with this, that one, I'm very blessed to sit in some of the circles that I am now. And I attribute a lot of that to my wife. I'm somebody that probably should be a number. I should probably be in jail. I should probably be dead. Before I was 21 years old, I was arrested 3 times. I got involved in more sinful things than you could probably imagine, whether it was fighting or lust or working in the nightclubs, whatever it was. And every one of those things, I speak on them pretty freely. And the reason I do is because I learned from every situation that I had. And that's something my dad distilled in me very young, is like, well, and I remember this, like as a kid, it's like, well, kid would throw something, I'd throw something back. Well, why'd you throw it back? Well, because you threw it at me. Yeah. Okay, well, why'd you throw it back? My dad always told me E plus R equals O. In every event, your reaction determines the outcome. Yeah. Right? So how did I take those negative events and make them better? Well, they didn't get better quick. They were horrible for a long time. And for months, I sat with this feeling, and years even, that, hey, I'm not qualified to go out and speak on things or be this person. Ed Milet's actually one that changed that perspective for me, because he said the things that you think disqualify you the most are the things that actually qualify you the most to teach others and lead others. And I never was arrested for like anything bad. I wasn't selling drugs. I wasn't hurting people. That was never on my radar, but I was always doing something stupid that got me in some trouble, you know? The flip side of that is every time I got in trouble, I still showed respect to the people that, you know, I wasn't going, why are you taking me to jail? I was going, man, you know, are you from here? You know, where do you live at? Are you from Clever? You know, or I mean, I can think when I was 18, I got arrested in Clever, and the only reason my dad found out was because the dispatcher knew my family and called my dad. And I was like, I'm 18, like I shouldn't be going to jail. And then here we are, you know? But all those things led me ultimately to, one, I want to help others know that the things of your past don't define you. Everybody knows that, but it's hard to get away from them. And I could have easily stayed at the nightclubs. I could have easily been a club promoter. I could have easily been a bouncer for the rest of my life. I could have done all those things, but it's not the success that I wanted. I knew it wasn't going to breed success for my family. I knew it wasn't going to ever let me have a successful fatherhood. You know, whenever we decided to have kids, I knew it just wasn't for me. And every one of those moments, man, I look back now are a blessing, you know, an absolute blessing. And a lot of people don't know that about me, but, you know, to anybody now that is going through the same things, you have the ability to change your life. You know, you can keep staying around the people you are, and maybe you get away from those people. And that's the hardest thing is like, well, my friends do this and I want to be with my friends. Get away from them for a bit and then lead them. You know, when they see you get better and they see you doing the things that you talked about 4 years ago, maybe they're going to get slapped in the face and go, well, crap, you can change, you know? So every one of those moments, man, was an absolute blessing to me, you know, in the long run.
That's extraordinary. It's so relatable. I'm glad you shared that. A lot of people need to hear that. They're either out of that phase and feel like that's, you know, the reason they're not qualified to go and share their story and help other people, or they're stuck in that phase. You know, circling back to my little brother, I tell him, I'm like, everyone's done the hard work in your life. You're the last of 11. Like all you got to do is like find one of 11 that closest fits your dream and go be with them, and they'll give you the roadmap. Like you're not the oldest. We're us older siblings. We had to figure it out on our own. We weren't given the connections. We weren't given the resources, any of that. And so that social circle, I mean, it directly correlates that. I had that epiphany or revelation. It was freshman year of college. My whole life was going down the drain, and I was listening to a professional former wrestler speak about the impacts his mother had. It's a viral video on YouTube. I'll post the link in the description. Highly recommend, especially if you have younger siblings, send it to your siblings. And he said, if you have, you know, 4 losers, you become the 5th and biggest loser of them all. And something just hit, and I'm like, all right, I'm going to try getting rid of my friends and finding new friends. And for the most part, you know, they took it okay. So a few of them picked on me, but that last friend that I called, he was, how do I word this? I have to be like politically correct when I share these kind of things. I'll put it this way. He was a big distributor of a certain product to college students out of Kansas City. And I call him and I'm like, hey, I'm done. I'm out. I found Christ and I just want to dedicate my life to serving God. And the line goes quiet. And I'm like, man, this guy's about to rip me apart. Because we were pretty close friends. And, you know, and he goes, wow, Paul, if you succeed at it, please don't forget to come back and get me. And for me, that's been my drive of there's so many people that need help. And there's so few laborers that are willing to come back and help. Mark Cuban recently made a post on X saying there's so many nonprofits competing amongst each other for funding and so few nonprofits sacrificing and doing and making an impact. And I think it's the same thing for entrepreneurs, especially ones that make it. They fought so hard that between trauma and distrust, they don't take time to do a podcast, to mentor and teach the next generation. And I think that's probably the core reason why I'm still doing this podcast. You know, this is year 3 for me doing it. Is I always tell myself, one more, like Hacksaw Ridge. I love that movie. Just one more. Like if I can impact one more individual, and you know, we've been blessed to reach over 1 million every month now. But if I can just do one more individual and change their life, it's worth it.
Absolutely, it's worth it. Man.
There's something else that really inspired me about you. This one's going to be personal. You married into a very successful family, someone that I went to high school with and has been my inspiration. And when I realized their level of success, to put in perspective, I was a helper and assistant on my summer job for a big local builder.
Yeah.
And I remember building or part of the team that was building a really big house. And I was like sweeping the floors and just like an assistant to superintendent for fancy title, general labor.
Yeah.
And I remember sweeping this floor and I'm like, one day I'm going to have a house like this. One day I'm going to have a house like this. Amazing testimony. Years went by. I bought a house in that same subdivision.
That's
so
awesome.
It's like a full circle moment of how just this house inspired me to it. And here I come to find out you're married into that family. And my first question to you is like, brother, like you should be full on like leveraging and using that to build your own empire.
Yeah.
And I was humbled. I still remember your words. You're like, I want to build my own legacy.
Yep.
And it just soaked in because I'm like, wow, I need to reprioritize some stuff in my life. Like I should not be focused about her legacies. Like I need to be focusing on my own legacy, because if they did what I, tried to do to a little extent, leverage some of their legacies, they would never have their own legacy.
Absolutely.
So elaborate on that. I just want the readers to hear like your thought process behind that, because it really had a big impact on my life.
Well, I don't know if a lot of it came from humble pride or just the fact that I know how hard that, like, if I were to get to that level, and someday I plan to, is you take a lot of pride in that, right?
No.
And I didn't ever want to be somebody that came in and they're like, oh, this guy wants. I'm a giver. I'm naturally a giver.
Yeah.
It's hard to give at the level that they give,
Yeah.
But I immediately, whenever I met my wife, I remember somebody coming to me and they said, they've got this car or whatever. And I said, I don't care. Wow. I don't care. The car, none of those things actually to me, I want cool stuff.
Yeah.
I want to give my family freedom. I want all those things, but it doesn't always matter. The legacy that they built is amazing to me because the way they give back to their community,
wow.
the things they do for the police state or for the, police community or just local charities, those things are really neat to me. But I never, ever, ever wanted to marry my wife and then somebody go, oh, look at Brady. He only made it because of this.
Yeah.
Now, have I gotten introduced to some wonderful people because of them? 100%. Have I been given some opportunities because of the things that they've done? Absolutely, man. I'm not going to knock that at all. But I have never once in my life, not once thought, I'm going to go work for them.
Yeah.
I've never thought it,
Wow.
That's their thing. That's their baby. I'm going to let them do it. And I'm going to grow mine someday where they can go, that's his baby.
Yeah.
That's his thing.
That's our son-in-law.
Yeah. And I love that. I think that they appreciate it. I see obviously the level of stuff they're doing. People come to them all the time, and I'm sure just like you, people probably come to you and they want the collaboration, even if it doesn't benefit you, or they want, let me take that for the week or whatever it might be. And I never wanted to be that guy.
Yeah.
I grew up with everything we needed. I'm not going to say we grew up poor.
Yeah.
There's a lot of PB&J and Doritos, and Tostitos pizzas, but I'm pretty happy with what I had.
Yeah.
I want some cool stuff. I want some nice cars. I want some shiny things. But at the end of the day, it's not what matters. To me, it's the level that they give back. It's the level of generosity that they truly have. And I want to be able to do that on my scale.
Yeah. That's so inspiring. I remember listening to this podcast, and I think it was Kevin O'Leary that said the best thing that can happen to someone is be born into poverty. Because otherwise with that silver spoon, I mean, how do you inspire someone? I mentioned in my book, how do you inspire someone that grew up in a room, a dedicated room that's called the playroom, packed full of toys? Yeah. Like, how do you inspire someone like that?
Yeah. Where's the creativity?
Yeah. Where's the creativity?
Where's the I always think of like when I was a little kid, like go get a stick, a stick with a gun or a sword, we had cool toys and stuff too, but like the creativity that comes with it and the things that you build your life by design. If your life's designed for you from the start, how do you build your life by design? I had a very good upbringing. My parents did a great job, very faith-based, great family. Like I've got great grandparents and grandma and grandpas. And like, I wanted to build my life by design. Yeah. Took a long time to figure it out, but we're doing it, slowly but surely. Yeah. So,
something that we've been experimenting in our home is have a certain quota or a certain level of like, let's say X amount of shoes, X amount of outfits, X amount of anything. And anytime we want to buy something nice and new, we have to donate something
I love that idea.
of that.
You should come inspire my wife to do that because her closet needs it, man.
Yeah.
I've never seen so much clothes. Yeah, I love that idea. I'm gonna go home and pitch that to her.
Yeah, we were shopping with my wife recently, and she wanted this really nice dress, and I wanted it for her. And I'm like, hey, babe, I'll pay for it, but you got to donate an equivalent value of dresses. And she was sitting there thinking, like you could see the thinking.
Yeah.
And I mean, it felt like an hour of thinking, but I'm sure it was just a couple of minutes. And she goes, yeah, I could do that.
Yeah.
And seeing her reaction where she went and gifted some of her older outfits, it actually inspired her to do that more.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now I'm seeing empty hangers. I'm like, we need to go buy you more clothes.
Yeah.
For me, I do it with cars. So I'm a big car guy. If I didn't have the self-control that I have now, I probably have 15, 20 cars in my collection.
Got room for it.
Yeah. And I'm not like, I mean, don't get me wrong. I wouldn't mind a Bugatti one day, but my cars are all low value. Like I want to have the old 2002 Volkswagen Jetta that I had. I mean, that's $1,000 car.
Yeah.
I want to have an Excursion, that's a $5,000 car. But my self-control is kind of the Kobe Bryant mindset. Don't celebrate in the middle, celebrate in the end, or job not done yet. And so I made myself a rule until I reach a certain level in life of giving of my donations. So my donations have to reach a certain quota, which I probably have another 7 to 10 years to reach that goal. It's 2026 right now. I only have one car at a time. So anytime I want a new car, I trade it in or sell it and buy a new one. And sometimes people are like, man, how many cars do you have? And it's like, well, I typically trade out every 6 to 8 months.
Yeah.
So I'll sell it, make a little profit, buy another one. Because I love cars. I love different cars. But if you don't practice that self-control, I mean, that can get you in some serious trouble pretty quick.
Get away from you, man. It absolutely can. You're kind of like, you're probably like me. Like if you see an opportunity, you're like, oh, I'll buy it. I can make money on it. I'm the same way with vehicles. If I can buy it and make money on it, I'll go do it all day. But we were talking the other day, a buddy of mine, we were just talking about nice cars and stuff. And he goes, and this guy, he's a redneck, just old redneck. He goes, man, my idea of success is just having a yard full of cars I can tinker with. And I was like, well, buddy, whatever makes you happy, and that probably will be him someday, man. But it's just whatever makes you happy and drives you.
Yeah, so. I agree. Speaking of goals and ambitions, what are some of your goals and ambitions that you're striving to that when you reach one day, I can go back in my archive and create a reel and say, this is Brady and him talking to you, and then now. So what are some of those things that you're striving towards?
Man, really for me, obviously family freedom, time, wealth, all that stuff, is going to come with it. But I want to be able to give back in my community in a way that impacts the community. Like I said earlier, my mom, she did it on a small level her whole life. And I always saw it as a very big thing. But I would love to, help a family that might need a vehicle one day and not think about it. Go buy them a car,
boom,
put it in your driveway with a bow on it, Merry Christmas, and don't even put my name on it. I just want to be happy. I like those types of things. And I think that our community needs more of them. That's really what drives me. Now, personal goals, I want to have the biggest real estate team in Southwest Missouri. I'm up against a lot of competition, and I tell my boss every day, I'm going to do those numbers. I'm 2 years into real estate, and I feel like I made a decent name for myself, and I don't want to go anywhere, and I don't plan on it. But that's one of my personal goals, is to have that large team, lead other people kind of the way that I came up, and give them a voice. But at the same time, I just want to impact this community, man. I really do. That's what I'm passionate about. I have a lot of ideas and things I want to execute on, and sometimes they change, every 3 years, and sometimes they're still in the back of my mind. But got a few things drummed up right now. I'm kind of working on.
We started as a RV parts.
Yeah.
We started selling used parts, salvage parts.
Yeah.
Then we added service. We pivoted and added service. So we would sell you the part, and then we'd charge you to install that part. A lot of times it'd be 2-3 times the value of the part.
Yeah.
And then we had one lady come in, and she purchased an entire set of parts, like a refrigerator, tanks, all these like an entire RV worth of parts. And I'm like scratching my head, like, what happened to your RV? Like, why do you have so many parts?
Yeah.
She's like, well, I'm redoing an old Airstream. I'm like, well, funny enough, I come from a construction background. Can we renovate it for you? She's like, you would do that for me? I'm like, is no one else offering it? She's like, no, I called all these places and no one wants to do it because I didn't know this at the time, but RVs are built like junk. So when you strip it down, it has a tendency to fall apart.
Yeah.
I had no idea what we're signing up for, but we signed up for it. She paid premium, like top dollar. And in that, I'm like, wow, we made a ton of money off the parts and supplies, a ton of money off the renovation. Why don't we just build our own RVs.
Yeah.
And so we've pivoted a lot along the way, but the vision remains big, and it's the same thing to make a big impact.
But how did that opportunity start? Like, how did that contact start with that lady? She was probably just somebody looking for something that you were like, I don't really know.
Yeah.
But because you treated her well and gave her the opportunity, it led to this.
We made her a really good deal on the parts, went above and beyond, set the appointment up on a Saturday. So yeah, you're right. We did a lot of things that average parts centers didn't do at that time. And most of them don't even do that at this time either.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love competing in our industry because it's kind of outdated. And so it's really easy to compete. First thing I do when a customer is kind of hesitant of canceling their order with a competitor, I say, call them Sunday morning and try to get a hold of warranty.
Yeah.
And then here's the number to our customer support. Call all our customer support. Just pretend you're a customer and say, hey, my furnace isn't working. My AC is not working.
See if you get somebody.
Yeah,
it ain't happening.
Monday morning, they're putting a deposit.
Every time, man. That's absolutely right. Like, it's just so neat because you have those opportunities with people. And I mean, just like where I am now, 3 years ago, I was working at Pitbull Power Sports. I did not want to take that job.
Yeah.
I was looking for the big golden nugget. What am I going to do? How am I going to go make $1 million? What's going to be the next big thing for me?
Yeah.
And ultimately I said, you know what? This job's close. I can enjoy it. It's off-road. We do side by sides and stuff like that. I'll enjoy it. The pay is going to get me by. I've made less. That opportunity led to me meeting the new owner who came in that one day. I thought he was a customer. And for 30 minutes, I led him around the shop, showing him side by sides. Yeah. And he goes, hey, I actually have to meet with the GM. And I'm like, oh gosh, what'd I do? They come back out an hour later and go, hey, Brady, we were going to introduce you to the ownership, but you already met him.
Wow.
And I'm thinking, I hope I said everything I was supposed to. It impressed him. Yeah. And 2 years down the road, when I was stuck in a spot of trying to figure out what brokerage I was going to go to and what real estate company I was going to be with, he approaches me. Yeah. Hey, you ever thought about selling houses for me? I'm like, yes, and it created those opportunities for me. But I think a lot of people don't take those conversations and the relationships for what they are, that those are opportunities for you. And and just like I told a lady at Dollar General yesterday, I was like, man, these girls don't give you any help. And she goes, no. And she's like 90 in there working and slaving. Yeah. And I said, what these girls don't understand is that somebody could walk in and appreciate the extra effort that they're doing, the smile on their face, the extra effort that they're going out to make sure their client's happy, and go, hey, I really like the way that you could handle yourself. Yeah. Would you like an opportunity with me? That can happen any day. Yeah. And a lot of people don't take it that way. But because you took that phone call, and most people would go, no, we don't do that. Sorry. Yeah. You said, I'll give it a shot. Yeah. And look what it created.
Yeah. So good. I look back at my life as you're sharing that, and it's like, man, you're formulating sentences. Have you considered writing a book?
So it's really funny you said that because, and this was completely random. I was down at that conference with Eric Trump and them, and I'm standing there talking to a group of guys out front, just networking. Yeah. And this guy stops the conversation. I'm not even talking. Somebody else is talking. He stops and goes, God has a vision for you. And I said, what? I was like, caught up. I was like, who are you? What is it? He goes, I can see you writing a book to persuade people like yourself and to lead them. Yeah. I was like, well, I've never had that vision myself. But I literally called my mom. I was like, Mom, this guy has a vision for me. And he said, God has a vision for me. Yeah. And I've been slowly formulating and thinking about the things that I want to put in that book and to lead people. But I'm also the type of person that maybe I always question things a little too much. I go, well, maybe I'm not qualified enough. And I go right back to Ed Milet. No, you are qualified enough. Go speak on it.
Yeah. So. That's inspiring. You definitely need to do it. Absolutely. Something you'll hear, like when I started writing my book, the main pushback was, first, I had my internal doubts. You're too young. It's too early. Then I had outside people. Like I'd talked to a few publishers. They're like, well, you're still early on in your journey. Your failure rate's still really high. I'm like, that's fine. Like if I fail big, I'm going to write another book about how to fail big and start over.
100%.
I have wisdom, knowledge, experience that people need to hear, that people need to understand. Like, one key thing that I learned: professors are not just professors. Like I learned that the hard way, and I didn't learn until my senior year of college. Professors actually have a lot of connections and a lot of money. Yeah. And so I started networking with my professors. So now any college I go to, I'm like, your professors are not like your high school teachers where they just work a 9 to 5. These are like retired execs. We have 2 professors right now, one from OKC and one from here in Springfield, that mentor our executive team here, multimillionaires, fly private, car collections, like stupid money. And it's like, even our U.S. Senator Josh Hawley, he was a former adjunct professor. That's where I first met him and built that relationship with him in college.
Yeah.
And so it's things like that. Imagine if they were common knowledge.
Yeah.
Like to where every college student knew, like, hey, my first stepping stone networking is my professors. And I got to get to the dean as soon as possible because the dean is friends with the governor.
Yeah.
And every college student goal, by the time they graduate, they're no governor and or a former governor. Guess who every former governor is going to know?
Exactly.
The next governor.
Exactly.
So,
I never looked at it like that until I was probably 23. And the reason I didn't is that what flipped my mind was I remember going to a fraternity and I was like, what is this? I was like, these dudes have to pay to be here. They get forced to drink.
Yeah.
They get hazed. I'm like, nobody's going to do that to me. And then I got thinking, I was like, this isn't about all those things.
Yeah.
Like, you see the guys that were in a fraternity 40 years ago.
Yeah.
They all know each other still.
Yeah.
They all live across the world. They all have different connections. And anytime they need something, they call their old brother.
Yeah.
You know? And I started every conversation I have with somebody, a relationship by Bill, I started looking at it like that, that no, this isn't just another guy I'm talking to.
Yeah.
You know, this is a relationship I'm building to create a network of people that are going to support each other. Yeah. That's why I like this community. That's probably why you love this community, because it's everywhere, man. Yeah. Everybody's so tight knit and so willing to work together or to grow this community. Yeah. It's beautiful, man. Yeah. I mean, that's why
it is. It has its downsides. Like if you make the smallest mistake, it's amplified and everyone knows within an hour. Yeah. But if you can get past that, past the drama, past those mistakes, like I met one individual and he was really sad and depressed. And he was sharing his story and how 60 years ago, he made a mistake in our small little Springfield community, and that kind of tarnished his reputation. And he's been living that ever since. Yeah. I'm like, I made a similar mistake, but I made it right away. Yeah. Owned it, made amends, made up for it. And here we are 6 years later, and I'm rebuilt, or really, it took me 6 years to rebuild that relationship, but I rebuilt it. Yeah. And I think a lot of people, they get caught up in their mistakes and they let them follow it their entire life. Yeah. I write sticky notes on my computer of advice that I like, and I'm going to take your E plus R equals O. Yep. I'm going to write that on my sticky note and add that because
you can put Coach Wells under that one, because that was all dad, man.
I love that. I will. And it's, you look at these things and it's like, I tell my team all the time, we can't control the economy. We can't control what our vendors do, what our customers do, but what can we control? Ourselves, our outcomes. Like we can take and really turn any situation into a good situation. One of the biggest mistakes an employee has ever made at 27 North is about $800,000 mistake a couple of years ago. And the poor guy was so stressed out, so overwhelmed. And I'm like, dude, what are you stressing about? Like, professionals aren't ones that don't make mistakes. Yeah. It's ones that know how to fix them. Yeah. How do we fix this? Dude, we turned that into $1 million opportunity. Make $200,000 off of an $800,000 mistake. Yep. That is, I mean, I always like to share the story of the fighter jets, you know, and not too long ago, they were test flying a fighter jet, and it went through its maneuvers and the pilot got killed. And then they went and did a second one and the pilot got killed. Two nice decorated veterans were killed. Yeah. They didn't give up. They kept pushing, and now it's one of the most famous jets in the entire world. Every country is
probably
dreaming.
The safest.
Yeah, and the safest. Yeah. It's like, don't let those mistakes define you, whether it's in your personal life or your family life or in business more so. Yeah. I want to share a gold nugget from your playbook, and then I want to hear a play from your playbook, or just business advice that's given you success. Yeah. So the success I want to share, or the kind of a recipe or a play from a playbook, I got from the Keller Williams team. So a mutual friend of mine is a top performing sales rep in the state of Missouri. And of course, I love hearing success stories, even if it's not in my industry, because I know I can derive and apply it to mine. So he locks in every day, even though he's got his own team, he's got a marketing department, every day he locks in for 2 hours, headphones in, not the Bluetooth one, the little wire that plugs into your phone, for 2 hours, cold prospecting. Yeah. Social media, cold lists, all of it for 2 hours a day. I mean, you can't interrupt or disrupt this guy. He's so locked in. So I took that. I'm like, there's got to be, a reason he does that and his success. I make all my sales reps do that now for 2 hours, headphones in, lock in, cold prospecting, social media, going on your competitors' pages, locking in on what they do, just any and all forms of prospecting. And their goal is to get 100 new prospects in their pipeline a week. So they have 5 days, so they do 20 a day.
Okay.
And they track all of this. And the philosophy is, even if you're a terrible sales rep and you have a 1% closing rate, I mean, anything less than 1%, you shouldn't be in sales. But if you have a 1%,
go to McDonald's.
Yeah, that's one deal a week.
Yeah.
I know in your space, in the realtor world, most sales realtors aren't even selling anything.
75% of them sold nothing last year. So, yeah.
How many of those 75% prospected 100 people a week?
I'd say none of them.
Yeah.
None of them.
And so when I heard this realtor doing it, we derived it. Now it's a baseline for us. It works like a charm.
Yeah.
So my success, I'm part founder and part CEO and I'm really good at sales. I think it's just a God-given talent to me. So I have a little bit closer to like 8% closing rate. And so whenever I take the time to prospect 100 people, I'll close 8 of them.
Yeah.
And it's just such a simple piece of advice that I pulled from your guys' playbook that works phenomenal. So your turn, share some gold nuggets, share some advice, whether it's sales or business or networking, whatever it may be, that gives you the success that you have today.
I mean, that's spot on, because they preach that in KW Bold, KW Coaching, Maps, all of it
Really?
is time blocking.
Yeah.
It's who's the guy that I can't remember his name, gets on there. Well, you have 24 hours in a day, but I actually have 4 days in my 24 hours. Every 3, I think it might be Ed Milet actually,
Really?
where he's like, every 3 hours is my day. Well, that can be true. You know, I have it set in my phone. I think 3 o'clock's my marketing time, where I sit down 3 to 6 and I market, and 6 o'clock I document everything I did for the day.
Wow.
That first half of the day is usually meetings, 8 to 11.
Yeah.
But any of that free time is just buckled up repetition, devotion to what I'm doing, because it can get sporadic. Like you probably know, you could be sitting down in the middle of something that's very important, and a phone call comes up that makes you run out the room and run to whatever that problem is to take care of it. Yeah. It's hard to keep those things in line. Time blocking is the huge one. Yeah. Is sitting down and having no excuse, no outside distraction. Just do this. And then I'd follow that with repetition. Just like weightlifting. You don't go to the gym 1 day a week and bench press 1 time and leave. You do it over and over. Controlled reps, movement, hit just 1 more. Keep those things going. Because when you get into that funk and you get into that rhythm, I think rhythm's a lot to do with it too. But you get into that rhythm, whenever you get to that hour and 58 minutes of, man, the 2 hours almost up. Once you start seeing the repetition and the success breed itself, that last 2 minutes usually going, I got 15 more minutes of my day. I might as well make some more phone calls. I just closed 8 deals. I'm gonna hit 10 more people. It's going good. I'm gonna get 1 more out of that. Time blocking, repetition, rhythm, man. That's all it is.
I love that. Before we transition to the conclusion of talking about what some people just fast forward to, and that's clothing and outfits, I want to talk about faith. Faith is something that's been big in my life, and every single person that I've interviewed on this podcast, whether it's business, politicians, they all have that in common. And I've interviewed people outside of the Bible Belt and inside the Bible Belt, and everyone acknowledges that God is kind of the center or core or reason behind. And I've even had one billionaire here say, I don't know how people do it without God.
Yeah.
And what does faith look like in your daily life? What role does it play? And then what are some practical steps of faith that you take in within your work more so?
Man, I think the most practical steps in faith that I take will be just treating people correctly, having honest opinions that are going to help somebody in front of you. In real estate, I mean, there's a lot of money hungry people out there. They just want the white Mercedes. They just want the headshot. They just want to go tell people they're a realtor. And to me, I care less about the paycheck. I've taken discounted commissions. I've done it for free. I've also told people that, no, this is not something I'm going to let you do. Wow. And they go, well, why not? And they start to wonder, why is he not? Well, the thing is, it's not in your best interest. And just like in faith, I want to treat everybody how I, love thy neighbor, obviously, and treat everybody correctly. But in my daily life, man, I'm somebody that got away from faith, and I never got away from it in the fact that I was like, oh, he's not real. I just wasn't taking the steps to follow scripture like I should have. I was I grew up in the church. I grew up every Sunday. We had to be there. I couldn't wear jeans. Dad made sure we were dressed up. Couldn't wear a hat. Like everything was so strict.
Yeah.
And what I saw, and this is no backlash to the church whatsoever, but I'm sure a lot of people have the same opinion, is whenever I started to make errors and do things that were outside of how my family wanted me to live and the life that they pushed me towards, the people that were around me, I started to see kind of push me away.
Yeah.
Oh, you got tattoos. Oh, your hair got longer. Oh, you're doing this. You got a motorcycle. Well, I actually went to my great-grandmother. She's 100 years old now.
Wow. And
at the time I had got one tattoo and it was Psalm 23:4. I said, Grandma, I don't know why, like Dad won't talk to me. You know, Grandma won't really talk to me. Like everybody's kind of like shunning me. And she goes, do you like your tattoo? I said, yeah. Now, Grandma, like, she's Bible Belt, buddy. She's never cussed. My grandfather passed away when she was 51 years old, and she's never been on a date since.
Wow.
She said, if you like your tattoo, screw him. And I was like, what? I was like, what do you mean? She goes, if you like it, I like it. Just be happy. And the thing was they were right. I was doing things I wasn't supposed to be doing. I was going down a path that I wasn't supposed to be going. Ultimately, it led me to the best thing possible. But I really quickly had to realize that everything that I did, all these tattoos, all the things that, like I said earlier, I thought disqualified me, are another example for me to preach to people and show people that this is godly. This is what faith means. I have a tattoo. It's the Merkaba. It's in the Old Testament like 44 times. I had a lady approach me one time at a pool in Miami, and she's like, is that the satanic star? I said, no, ma'am, it's not. It's actually the Merkaba. It's in the Old Testament 44 times. And after having that conversation, I was like, this is a way for me to actually preach to people, to show my faith, for them to maybe judge me from afar and go, oh, look at him. He's a roughneck. You know, he kind of rough. And then show them that I am practicing how God wants me to practice, that I do help people, that I do love others, that all this is just an outside image. My heart's with God, and that's how I lead my way. So
the example I love giving, especially younger generation that loves to argue these controversial subjects, is I just get straight to the point, and I showed them my broken arm, and I have like a really nasty scar. It disqualified me from sports. It disqualified me from pursuing a career in the military. Like, it really held me back from a lot of opportunities that I wanted to pursue. And I always say I wouldn't recommend breaking your arm to be able to go until it's going to hurt. But believe you me, anytime I see a kid that's playing around, misbehaving, horse playing, I roll up my sleeve and I say, hey, when I was a kid, I was doing what you're doing, and I broke my, And so I use that philosophy, like when people bring up, you know, getting drunk or getting high, and it's like, maybe those things were the past, but you don't have to go do those things to be able to preach to someone else not to go and do them. And I think that's something that a lot of young people use to justify, and even older people I've seen, you know, parents go and, oh, but we'll be able to tell others how to not. And it's like, no,
that's not the reason. That's not the reason you're doing it. You're doing it because it's comfortable and you got bad habits.
And then the second half of that you highlight is the reaction. I love the story. It went viral on social media. I think it was actually a military officer that was sharing it, about a young man that walked into a church and he had an orange or yellow mohawk, and how they asked him, are you lost? And he was so nervous that he's like, well, yeah, I'm actually looking for the grocery store. And they told him, well, the grocery store is that way. And so he's walking that way and he stops by the second church. And there's these two old ladies. It reminds me of your great grandmother. And they're like, hey, thank you for coming to our church. Why is your hair on fire? Like, completely joking. And they laugh it off and they're like, hey, do you like apple pie or cherry pie? And he's like, well, I don't remember what he said, but they're like, after church, we have pies. You should stop by and try the pies and then come tell us which one you like. Because she made the apple pie and I made the cherry pie, or vice versa. And we'll make you your own pie. And so the young man stays till the end of the church, tries the pies, tells him he likes both. He comes back again. They make him pies. Long story short, he becomes a local pastor of the church, or a deacon, like a leader of that church. I agree, man. The church was not equipped. Like, I feel like it was really equipped how to defend. But we were never really equipped how to go on the offense. How do we go and be the light to the world? How do we go and bring in new members? A lot of times when I'm asked, hey, how do we scale our church organization like you structure and scale your business? And I'm like, I'll give you the golden sauce, how to 2X, like double your membership, double your staff overnight. How do you do it? And I'm like, get each one of your members to bring in one more member.
That easy, right?
That's it. What does it
Just
take?
invite a friend.
Invite a friend.
Get free pizza, something. Like, get them in here.
A neighbor, a friend, a colleague, a coworker. I mean, just one, and you're gonna double.
Yeah.
And like, it's not that easy. It's like, yes, it is. Like, we're the light. Like, why were we never trained to go on the offense? Why are we always on the defense?
It's that easy if you're welcoming.
Yeah.
It's that easy if you're leading with love and you're saying, hey, come on in. There's an old song. I don't know if you ever heard it. It's actually more, he kind of just reads the lyrics. His name, Johnny Paycheck, very controversial old outlaw country singer.
Yeah.
And he has a song called The Outlaw's Prayer.
Mm.
And in The Outlaw's Prayer, he basically says, hey, I went to this church and guy was going to let me in. I said, no, sir, not with that scruffy beard and those jeans. And at the end of the song, he leads out with, oh, Lord, weren't you wearing sandals and a robe? Wasn't your beard long too and your hair pretty curly? And kind of leads to that. And it's like, well, be welcome, and treat others how you want to be treated. And it goes right back to that, don't always judge. It's your job to help. Yeah. I mean, as Christians, I think we need to do that more.
Yeah.
Is stop. Don't ask political affiliations. Don't ask what their opinions are on things. Just lean out and love people, man, and do that with open arms.
Yeah. So good. Alrighty, now let's wrap it up with clothing.
Yeah, man.
I shared with you my story briefly of how I was picked on and bullied on my outfits and clothing. And so one day I said, I'm going to have the world's biggest wardrobe and the world's biggest shoe collection. And then I learned from just local successful individuals here in town, that means nothing. Like, wear what you're comfortable in.
100%.
We have a local billionaire that's notorious for just Wrangler jeans and a flannel shirt.
Yep.
And we have a mutual friend. He's like, Paul, I didn't recognize him at the gas station one day. He's just like so dressed, simple country. And ever since then, I found kind of a middle ground where I'm most comfortable. So I wear the same golf pants every day or khakis. I'm usually in a long sleeve sweater or a dress shirt, and just like any day of the week, anywhere you find me, I'm kind of the same outfit. That's what I feel comfortable in. I love tennis shoes, so I'm wearing tennis shoes, even with a suit and tie. The only time I'm not wearing tennis shoes, a suit and tie is like if it's a really formal event. I go to Cole Haan's. It's a Nike brand. The bottom is tennis shoe.
Do you get the emails every day? Cole Haan's marketing department's killer, because the minute you buy a pair of shoes, it's like every day. It's like every time you think about buying a new pair of shoes, you're like, well, Cole Haan just sent me with a deal.
Yeah, I used to go out behind the pulpit in tennis shoes, and people were getting really offended. The church was a little bit, not as contemporary. Yeah. So I'm like, I got to find a solution to this, because I'm tired of making people stumble. And I'm like, it's just easier for me. I love comfortable shoes anyways. And that's how I stumbled across the Cole Haan. I literally Google search tennis shoe sole with dress shoe top. Yeah. I noticed you're very confident in what you wear too, and you're not walking around in, crazy outfits like you would find in some of these bigger cities. What is your philosophy behind it, and why?
Man, goes back to football for me. It's like, look good, feel good. That's how I always thought in football. So I always had the jersey folded up, always had the arm, those types of things. And I'm actually somebody that most of the time in my day-to-day, you're going to find me in boots, jeans, t-shirt. That's how I'm comfortable. Cowboy hat. That's kind of my brand, is the Doc Holliday looking gunslinger thing. But I'm also somebody that you can find a lot of pictures of in skinny jeans and things you probably have never seen me wear. And dude, I am 100% where if you're comfortable and you feel good in it, do it. And my wife will be a testament to that, because I usually dress her. I'm like, well, I'm wearing this. What are you wearing? She's like, well, I don't know. I'm like, well, you've got this dress and it matches this. And like for events, I go all out for events. Like if it's a 70s event, I'm wearing a polyester suit. If there's a rock concert, I have leopard print pants and a crop top for it. Yeah. I'm one of those people, I like to sometimes stand out. If there's a crowd, I want to look different. I want to be remembered, you have to be memorable. I want to stand out in those networking opportunities so people go, holy crap, there's Brady. Just like the Sertoma Wingapalooza, I was literally in a polyester suit, Stetson cowboy hat, snakeskin boots. Everybody's like, man, I love that. And they won't forget it. Yeah. But day to day for me, I did this when I started real estate. I've got a ton of blazers, man. I've got a lot, and I would wear them every day. And a blazer with a mullet does not look super professional. And I don't always have the mullet, but I was like, this isn't me. And I feel like people can see that, there's a time and a place for it. I can get dressed up and look great if I need to. And I'm all for it. I love those events as well. But I wanted to be somebody that was approachable in my business. I found that a lot of agents have a really nice headshot. Their car is always perfectly clean. It's a beautiful BMW. They get out and they look like they just came from some huge, like, fancy event, you know? And I feel like to the average buyer, when they come across that person, they have a little bit of reserve that it's not like a real person.
Yeah.
You know? And I didn't want that. I absolutely didn't want that. So I was like, what is true to me?
Yeah.
How am I comfortable? Boots, jeans, comfortable. I can make it look good. I look good in a $10 t-shirt. You know, I'm going to own that.
Yeah.
But like you were saying, I mean, when you were a kid, people picked on you for the clothes you wore. I was the same way. And I always was like super proud of it, because the one thing I remember, I got a jacket from Abercrombie and Fitch. I was in 7th grade. It was like this weird material. And everybody told me it looked like I was wearing a trash bag. And I never wore it again.
Wow.
Until sophomore year. I was little, so it still fit. It was still fit. And about that time, Justin Bieber put out an ad with the same jacket. And I wore it to school, and the same kids that picked on me the prior years came to me like, dude, where'd you get that jacket? And I was like, guess what? This is the same one you told me you hated and looked like a trash bag in 7th grade. So I always like, just be comfortable, be happy, whatever. You got to stand out, stand out. I'm all for that too. But my day-to-day of just being relatable to people, I did not want to stand out too much. The mustache stands out. You know, my reputation stands out. The way that I treat people are going to stand out over, oh, wow, he looks great, you know?
Yeah. You sound like the governor. He literally said, and I quote, almost the same things that you're saying now. He's like, if I'm going to the farm, man, I'm putting on my boots, my skinny jeans.
I've got marketing videos in overalls, man. Like, I wore overalls to one of our tournaments, like, and everybody's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I'm here to have fun, you know? Like,
it's a tournament.
Like, we're going to have a good time. They're like, you show up to a golf tournament in overalls and a cowboy hat. I'm like, yeah, I played the best golf I ever played, you know? So for me, it's about having fun, you know, and just doing what makes you happy. At the end of the day, we have a realtor that works in our office. The dude is awesome. He's one of the best marketers I've ever met. He wears the fanciest shoes and jacket every day. And they're killer. Like, they're awesome. And every time he gets up to speak, they always ask, we have questions. I go, hey, where'd you get that jacket at? Because that one's awesome. You know, I respect it. I think it's great. But everybody to each their own, man. And I don't think people see me as the suit wearing type every day. So good.
That's so good. I admire that. So imagine you're walking down the street and someone listened to this podcast and they're just going through a dark place, and you had just one sentence that you can give them, along with how they can connect with you. What is that one sentence you would give them? And then how would you tell them is best to connect with you?
Because of this, something good will come. God's got your back, and lean into it. And the best way to connect with me is give me a call, 417-576-1352. Check me out on social media, Facebook, whatever it might be. If you see me in town, stop me and talk to me. I'm here to help.
Awesome. So, I appreciate that, Brady.
Yeah, man.
Thank you guys for listening and following our journey along. This is the final episode of season 2, and we're excited to launch season 3. What's going to be unique about season 3 is we're going to dive deeper into impact and stewardship. Also, we're going to start announcing opportunities where you can come on site and on scene with us and sit here live and listen to the podcast and connect with our host. So keep an eye out for that. It'll all be on our socials and our website. Thank you so much for another amazing season. Godspeed.